Hello, sixth graders. Mrs. Parsons here, and I'm here today to present to you a recap and review video on algebraic expressions. This week, we will be taking a test over Unit 1, which we started with geometry and introduced algebra. And in that time, we've covered a few things. So I'm going to make these review and recap videos for you to use in centers this week to help you study so that on Friday, you're A-okay and ready to go. So here's your first video, algebraic expressions. I'm going to talk about at least 3 components when we're thinking about algebraic expressions, maybe 4. 4 components when we're thinking about algebraic expressions that I think are very important for you to remember. So let's start with the very first one that is important. Algebra is the study of the unknown. So I'm going to write that word, and I'm going to try to make these videos quick so that you can watch them in centers. So algebra is the study of the unknown. It means that something in math is not given to us, but we need to figure it out if we ever want to solve it. And so what we do with that unknown is we now replace it with a beautiful thing called a variable. And that variable really is just a letter that represents a missing number. So that variable is a letter that represents a missing number. And our job is to figure out how to find out what that letter represents. What is the missing number? And there are a couple ways we can do that. We can either see it in a problem or we can write it out from a problem. Both ways require us to have 2 pieces of information. You have to have at least one of the 2 pieces of information. Let me clarify that. So, you must either have what the variable stands for, you have to know what the variable stands for, or you must have the solution to the math statement. Now I'm going to go ahead and write it to you for you. I say it's a math statement, it's a math sentence. You're going to call it a math problem. So in order to figure out the unknown, the variable that has replaced a number that's missing, we must have one of 2 things. We must either know what the variable stands for, or we must have the solution to the problem. So 6th graders, when looking at algebraic expressions and algebra in general, you're going to have to do what we like to call some investigation. You're going to have to do some research and fill in some of that information by what you receive once you go out and look for it. So you can have problems in algebra that look one of 2 different ways. I can have a problem that says the sum, oops, my S didn't get it in there, the sum of 6 and the letter C. That may be how algebra is presented to you, because we know mathematics is a language, and that means we have to read it, state it, and understand it. So we have to be able to read it and then be able to state it to someone and then be able to understand it for ourselves and for other people we might be telling it to. So in this case, if I'm going to write this now, take these words and write them as a mathematical statement, or to you, a mathematical problem, I have to find the important words. And the first one I see is that word right there that says sum. And I know that the sum means the solution to an addition problem. Now, I just need to figure out, what am I actually answering? What am I trying to find a solution for? Well, in this case, they give me 2 components, a 6 and the letter C. Now, if this is all they gave me, 6th graders, this is what would be called our expression. You don't know if you can answer it. You don't even know if they want you to answer it, because something's missing and you don't know what that something is. So until they give you what C is, you will not be able to solve this problem that you took from words and wrote into a math problem. You won't be able to solve it unless they give you that variable. That's the first part of algebra. Well, now that I know the variable, I can then answer it, sixth graders, and I know the answer is 19 because I would use the substitution method. I would put 13 in where C is at, and I could then add my 6 plus 13 to get 19, and that is where I would get my sum. So I can take it from words to a problem, or I can take it from a problem, 2C minus 5 equals, let me think of one I can do, equals, see, this is what happened when you're on the fly, equals, what number do I want to put in there? Oh, equal, I'm going to do the 13 again. Can I do that one? Yes, I'll do 13 again. So I could have it in a problem, and then I may have to take it to words. So again, I have to look for, in the end, what did I get out here in my solution? Well, in my solution, it has to be a difference because my problem right here states that that sign is a subtraction sign, which means my solution is going to end up being a difference. So I can take it to words. I can say the difference of the product, because this is a product, letter by number means multiplication, of the product 2 and C, and you can even say minus 5 equals 13. And so when I then take this back to that problem, I have to look for this information. The difference of the product 2 and C minus 5 equals 13. That's part of the algebra. Taking it from words to problem, problem to words, and the only way I can do that, sixth graders, is if they tell me what the variable is, or in this case, they tell me what the answer is. And then I can then go on to figure out what C is. And I'm going to scroll this down and show you how we use our information to figure out what C is, except my board, there it is, what C is. So my problem started off with 2C minus 5 equals 13. Well, they have given me the solution, but I still don't know what C is. So when I get done, in the end, I should be able to figure out what C is. So you always want to get C by itself. That's the big part about algebra. You're trying to find the unknown, and this unknown happens to be C. So I'm going to start with taking away anything that doesn't have an attachment to C. And right now, what I see that doesn't have an attachment to C is this 5. So if I do the inverse operation with this, if I add 5 instead of taking away 5, that now balances to 0. I'm $5 in the hole. Grandma gives me $5. I'm really back at 0 because I was already $5 in the hole. But we know whatever you do to one side of any equation, you must do to the other. So I'm going to add 5. And then I look to see what I have left. 2C is equal to 18. And now, sixth graders, since you know that we are no longer using the X for the multiplication sign, instead we're using a dot, parentheses, or a number by a letter, you probably are already telling me in your head as you're watching this, the answer is 9, because you know 2 times 9 equals 18. But if we cannot solve that, we then want to get rid of the 2, because we're really trying to figure out what the C is. And since we're multiplying the number by the letter, the way to get rid of the number is through division. So we'll divide 2C by 2, and that will get rid of my 2, because 2 will go into 2 one time, and 1 times C is just C. So I'm left with C. And if I do it to one side, I must do it to the other. And of course, 18 divided by 2 is 19. So sixth graders, that's our wrap up of algebraic expressions. Remember, you really got to pay attention to those words because they will also be in word problems, and you have to take them from words to problems, problems to words, either with knowing what the variable is or finding what the solution is and being able to work backwards. So that's it for this video, and then I'll make more for your other centers. Please listen closely and then practice, practice, practice. Until the next time, Miss P will see you. Have a great day.